Hello and you're welcome to Business Highlights on Trust TV. On the show, we take a look at major business developments for the week, as well as analyze major economic policy decisions and how they affect the average Nigerian out there. My name is Chamun Dabeng, and you're welcome to the show. All right, so lots of exciting things have actually been going on since the President Tinubu administration began. He's been signing bills here and there and making a lot of moves even without a cabinet. We'll be getting into that right after the break. Don't go anywhere. All right, you're welcome back. And once again, my name is Chamun Dabeng, and this is Business Highlights on Trust TV. So we're currently taking a look at some of the major decisions that the president has made so far. It's been about 16 days since he has been president. And so far, he's made a lot of decisions. We saw him take out a few subsidies right off the bat at his inauguration. So far, he's been signing so many different bills. He's made changes to Nigeria's exchange rate windows. There's a lot that's actually going on, and we're going to be taking a look at that. But let me quickly introduce my guest in the studio. His name is Dr. Emeka Okengo, and he's a development economist. You're welcome to the show.
Pleasure. Thank you for inviting
All right, so tell me, what do you think about the moves that the president has been making so far? I mean, he's really been shaking things up. What do you make of this?
Well, it's commendable. Tough decisions, they call them. But I think that the tougher decision would have been not to do it.
Okay.
So I think he's taking the right decisions. Because if we chose between tough and right, I would have said as against tough, which would have been do nothing. Right is to be able to now, do what it is done. Commendable, I would say, especially when you look at the circumstances. What the backlash, the expected backlash, especially with the removal of fuel subsidy. But having also said that, let me also please remind you that each time I have a conversation about subsidy, I tell you that what we are doing is not subsidy. Okay, what we are doing is that we are funding, imported goods to be affordable to our people, and it has very dire consequences. So he's just not removed subsidy. He's probably created an avenue for us to begin to think right, because it's only somebody who doesn't have his faculties right that will be, putting palliatives or subsidies on something that is imported. Now, making certain that from wherever it is coming from, more of it will come against your own local industries.
All right, so let's take a look at this report on the unification of our exchange rate windows by Yusuf Akuku.
After years of managing and defending exchange rates, the Central Bank of Nigeria finally allows Naira to compete in an open market with other major currencies. The decision followed President Bola Tinubu's pronouncement of his government's plan to unify multiple exchange rate windows, which were said to have negative effects on the economy.
It will cut down on a lot of problems, a lot of economic issues, a lot of unnecessary gains and benefit. Because what happens is that there's one exchange rate in the central bank, and some people go through the back door to go and get dollar at very expensive, very cheap amounts, and then they bring it back into the system around trip, fueling the exchange rate gap. You also notice that some banks do it also, fueling round tripping and encouraging inconsistencies in the economy, disparity in the exchange rate. It should not be so.
For these Nigerians, President Bola Tinubu has addressed the major parts of Nigeria's economic problem. They describe exchange rates unification as a game changer.
I am foreseeing stability in the near future, and by near future I mean any time from now. And I believe our currency, the Naira, would appreciate.
It will help the general economy to have a central structure, and in fact, it will reduce corruption.
Let Naira get value as usual before. When Shagari was in the seat, Naira was a big, because dollar was that time 25 kobo per dollar. We want our Naira to get weight right now.
For Bureau de Change operators, their position is clear. The policy will eliminate corruption in the system. And contrary to speculation that they will be out of business, BDC operators appreciate the proactiveness of the new government in FX management.
First and foremost, you knew you have one rate in Nigeria. And the same thing goes to the customer as well. That is the end users. They know there is one single rate for dollars in Nigeria. That is one. And that is a very important message to all of us. So there is no way you could go behind the mask and buy at 200, 300 naira cheaper than me. Honestly, kudos to them. So we bureau the change. We are waiting for them because I know they will engage everybody.
Good as the policy may appear, Nigerians are still watching to see the impact the reform of the monetary policy will have on the larger economy.
All right, so it's not just economists, it's not just BDC operators, even Nigerians are actually happy about this. So now we have all windows being collapsed into the I and the E window. So for RT200 has been abolished, and so has the Naira for dollar scheme that has also been stopped. What is your take on this?
It's a very good development. It's something we've pushed. It's something I've promoted. It's something we insisted that that's the only way to go. Because in the first place, again, it comes to subsidy. And then what are you subsidizing? So I think the demon, the devil in the room is our understanding of the word subsidy. Because all you were simply doing was subsidize the Naira so that it could be available or affordable for some people, you know, to get it. And then what they put it into. But there's this other angle to it that a lot of people never actually took deep interest into. Now, if you were also now repatriating your exchange rate into the country, you are also expected to repatriate at the official rate. Okay, so imagine a situation where, you know, you go to the parallel market to buy at 700, and then you're repatriating at 460. I mean, it wasn't making any sense. So now that you have a single window for your import and export, all good to go. And again, you can even see that the market forces are beginning to pull and push. Okay, the first day that announcement
within 24 hours, the Naira appreciated.
Yes, it came to 700, and then the next day it
664,
and they are still falling. I think it's about 630 something now. So you're going to be having, you know, depending now on your demand, you know, and supply issues. You're going to be stabilizing until you now get to a point where, but again, it's not just enough for you to have, you know, Naira and dollar in a brawl. You know, you must also now support the Naira. And the best and only way to support the Naira is for Naira to have something it's bringing to the table. Remembering that the major issue here is what are you bringing? What are you exchanging your currency against? What is supporting it? What is hedging it? So the moment you now focus on production, and then you're focusing, and your production is export oriented, okay? You start getting some market niches here and there that ends you, even if it's safer you're earning, is Forex. If it's robos, is Forex. Whatever currency that is not yours is foreign exchange. Now, as long as your own currency can be traded, look at the Kenyan shilling. I mean, there's so much to talk about that it can be quite big. Look at what's happening. Kenya has been able to now get those who are trading in their oil, who are wanting to buy their oil, to start buying, you know, with the Kenyan shilling. So you source Kenyan shillings, and then you buy Kenyan oil. Okay, and
I believe Russia also did that too.
Yeah, they're doing it to a ruble. Okay, so you can imagine what will happen if you just had that very single, you know, single window or single achievement of now getting people who are buying our oil. You can imagine when you now need to source, you know, the Naira equivalent for you to buy 1 million barrels of oil, you know, that we're trading or a little bit more or less on a daily basis. Our currency will just jump back. So it's all about what's supporting your currency, really. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay. So are there challenges that could actually affect this move by the president, collapsing everything into the I and E?
Yeah, the first challenge will be what in Nigerian parlance we call the cabal, those who are benefiting. Because we are talking about, you know, big numbers, yeah. All right, this is big ticket. Foreign currency, just like oil, is the biggest. And the people who are in this thing they make the kind of money that you can't put in any calculator. So they might want to push back. But if you have transparency, if you have your rule of law, beginning to now, everybody is now must respect, obey the provisions, of our legal ground norms. Then whoever you become that justice lady that has a blindfold against her eyes and with a knife, ready to give you justice. So the moment we make justice central to what it is we want to do, there's nothing you can push back. That's how they fought the mafia, and then brought them down. That's how you fight cabals to bring them down. Is your legal and justice system. The moment everybody and nobody is above the law, everybody is equal before the law, okay, and you have a justice system, okay, that can give you very quick justice, then we're on the right move.
All right, so another decision that the CBN made recently was to actually float the Naira, and we'll be getting into that right after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Well, you're welcome back to Business Highlights on Trust TV. My name is Chamon Dabeng, and I'm still here with Dr. Emeka Okengo, and he is a development economist. And we're currently taking a look at some economic decisions that has been made so far by President Tinubu and how it's affecting Nigerians out there. For good, bad, we're still seeing how it goes. All right, so before we left off, we're going to be talking about the central bank floating the Naira. Can you explain what this really means?
Well, what it simply means is that it's now the market that determines the value. Okay? It's a very simple thing. This is what it is we have. All right. Now, this is what you want to buy. It's like you're buying oranges. Okay? It's like buying any other things. You're buying any other commodity. Now, nobody is now, restricting what volume you can buy and at what cost you can buy. It's just that simple. You allow when you float it, it's now what the market brings or what the market demands that can make it, profitable or make it, you have a price hike or whatever. And because of this now, it's going to be affecting even those who are producing. Okay, like I tried to explain to you earlier, you go to buy your Forex at about 700 or 800, and then in repatriating it, the only way you can bring it back into the system is to exchange it at 460. You can see the challenge already. No, but when you're buying at 700 or you're buying at 800 or you're buying at 600, then costing your products, costing your output,
it becomes difficult.
Becomes a lot easier because in now putting value, to what it is you're producing, you can actually now calculate it very easily and well. Now remembering that you also have competition. Okay, so what I see is that a lot of people are going to be bringing in their money as against other considerations. Whereas the cost of your raw materials might not be so cheap. The cost of your labor could, your taxes could. Okay, all these things are now going to be aligned, and you're just going to have this single window that now propels you to be able to take a proper investment decision without now thinking that you're going to be running against a guy who is sitting in his house, makes a call, gets a $4 million, makes another call, and he's become a millionaire in Forex.
All right. So what's going to be the impact of this in general on the Nigerian economy? What does it mean for businesses out there?
Positive, negative, just like any other thing. Everything that has a good side also has, the bad side. But at this initial stage, of course, there are going to be shocks. So
what shocks should we be looking out for at this point?
Well, first, availability of these funds. There might be hoarding. Okay. Secondly, the cost of the products that are going to be coming in as a result of this. Because remember that a lot of these monies were being released purportedly, okay, against some very special areas, okay, of production, of need, what they call the national needs, some items that you needed, you know, to produce so that it could be affordable and cheap to the people. But why that might be the case, there's always that alternative also, now finding alternatives to those things, you know, that you might think are the essentials. I'll give you a typical example. If you remember in the days of wheat, when we stopped importing wheat, and then we started using corn, you know, to make beverages, especially the alcohol beverages. For about a month or two, you know, it tasted funny. But before you could say Jack, everybody got onto that taste. Now, ditto for things maybe like, you know, your cereals and your breads. Okay, right now, there are a lot of, you know, moves to start using potato, which is most readily available locally, that can be scaled up in production to start producing bread. Okay, remember again that this is again another time that the cassava bread could actually come, you know, into focus, because now you need to now look for that cheapest alternative, and the cheapest alternative will be to look around, you know, your locality to find what you can get, and you'll be shocked, you know, at what alternatives we have that would never explode, because we now have the luxury of, you know, you make a call or you do a letter and then a shipload comes from somewhere. It will make us begin to now look inwards, like they say, you know, necessity now becoming the father of invention.
All right, so we've also seen the stock market. It's been pretty much doing fairly well. You know, we had the situation with the central bank governor's suspension, and now we're looking at how that is also affecting the stock market. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you see, the reasons for that suspension, I mean, for me, as this is my personal opinion, everybody saw it coming. It was clear, it was obvious, even during, you know, in the campaign trail. The president, as presidential candidate, didn't hide his feelings, you know, about what he thought, you know, was a ploy, you know, targeted against him. So there's no way his activities wouldn't have been investigated. I mean, there's no way that wouldn't have happened. It was a crisis, or it was a fortune or misfortune foretold, clearly. And again, the way and manner it has also happened. It's happened very instantaneously, and you found that there was no break. Okay, and the reasons, government was clear to also present the reasons why, you know, he was being investigated.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that gave some kind of comfort, you know, because a lot of people, well, some people might see it as political witch hunt, but what is important is that there's information out there, you know, that you can know on, you can actually, you know, draw your analysis or draw your conclusions against. Ditto for also, you know, the chairman of Economic and Finance Commission. Before his suspension, you saw a governor come out, you know, to accuse him, you know, of asking him for bribe. I think that was the governor of Zamfara State, you know, and the only response I think, you know, that he gave was that he should bring proof that happened. So again, what I'm trying to say is that there's nobody who's been suspended, okay, that some reasons haven't been alluded, or some reasons were not out there in the public space before.
It was only a matter of time.
Yes, because before that suspension was done. And yeah, if it's a suspension, I also think that he also affords them, you know, a chance to truly, you know, showcase their stewardship. Okay, and from what I hear, if you want to read in papers or anything to go by, I think, you know, a court has also granted him access to his lawyers and his family members. So what I think is important here is that he must also insist as a citizen for his right to be had his day in court. Okay, ditto for, you know, the chairman of the EFCC. And if both of them are not found wanting, I don't see why, you know, they shouldn't go back to their positions.
All right, so we only have a few minutes left to go on the show. So I would like to get your comments on Nigeria's, should I say, economic trajectory. We've seen a lot of decisions being made. We've also seen the inflation rate for May were at 22.41%. That's inflation, and then food inflation is at 24.82%. Are we, hopeful that this is going to be dropping soon?
Yeah, they will. Like I said to you, where we are now is at that threshold, okay, of what they call in academics, publish or perish. Okay, we have our backs against the wall. What we need to do is to begin to fight back. And in fighting back, we must be very, very, proactive. We must be very innovative, okay? We must be very artistic about it. It's not going to be closing your eyes and you're swinging blind. Now, what are those indices? Where are those areas? What are those sectors that we must be able to focus on to get this, pinhole that might get us, a way out of the crisis? One, of course, would be agriculture. But not agriculture in the way we've done agriculture in the past 30 years. It now has to be agriculture disaggregated, okay, into ecosystems. Okay, two will be the mining sector. Not the mining sector like we've also done it. It also has to be the mining sector now tied to construction, and infrastructure development sector. You just need to now build these synergies. You're not talking about mine. You must be talking about steel. Okay, you must be talking about allied steel products. You're not talking about agriculture. You must be talking about products. Okay, so you have industry, you have packaging, you have storage. Okay, you have a processing. You have all that all chained together, then leading into a common market. So if we have just even these two areas leading this charge, you'll be very, very shocked at what we can be able to get as a country, especially considering that we have one of the most arable lands on the globe. Over 60 million not in use. Okay, we have practically every mining product you can talk about, or mineral deposit you can talk about, in over 450 locations. But the problem has been we've focused a lot of our development on just policies. We've not been able to grow that development framework, okay, that ties clearly, where you can see, that tie in, where industry will meet policy. Okay, the moment we do so and we're able to sustain it, it might take us a little while, but trust me, and again, the last I'm missing out is technology, because in between these two things I'm talking about now is the role of science, technology, and innovation. Get these three things together, give Nigeria another 18 months.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, development economist Dr. Emeka Okengo. To our viewers out there, thank you so much for joining us today. Please make sure that you follow us on our social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just look up Trust TV News. My name is Chamun Dabeng. Come back again. Let's talk numbers.